Hello and welcome to Mind Mutter Matters. My name is John Usher from mindmuttermatters.com. I invite you to join me as we explore our inner voice and the inevitability of identity and all that brings with it. Hello, welcome, come in, have a seat, get comfortable. Thank you for choosing Mind Mutter Matters. Thank you for choosing this. Thank you for being here and participating. In this episode, I want to share with you the inevitability of the I am. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? Inevitability has got such an ominous ring and tone to it. And there is a certain dark cloud that goes with it, but there is also a lot of light and a lot of joy and a lot of peace that goes with it, in our peace for our ability to manifest, to create the life that we want. So let's get into it. In the previous podcast, I kind of focused on Mind Mutter, what it is, its purpose, and towards the end of that podcast, I briefly just touched on the inevitability of identity. And it is such a beautiful thing to me. It's such a new revelation. It is something that I'm working with at the moment. I have had the tools and the grounding, the information that underpins all of this concept of the inevitability of identity for a very long time. It is the articulation, the language of it, which is very new for me, and I'm still exploring it. So I'm now not only doing a new thing in terms of podcasts, I am also sharing with you new languaging around a concept that has been very true, very real for me for a very long time. And I do want to just back up a little bit and first of all acknowledge the concerns that you might have. You've come to a website called Mind Mutter Matters. You've come to a channel or a program on that website that says Mind Mutter Matters, and you are listening to a podcast that is about Mind Mutter Matters. And here we are talking about the inevitability of the I am. So I understand the concern is that a lot of people are saying, how does this relate to Mind Mutter? How does this explain and give me control of Mind Mutter? And I want to acknowledge you and say, yes, I hear you. And it is a great question. And in fact, the inevitability of the identity itself is the root origin of your Mind Mutter. Mind Mutter is an extension of the identity, and it is an automated affirmation system that is communicating out of the identities that you have. And I'm using identities as a plural. We don't have a singular identity, but I will explain that in a moment. So if Mind Mutter is there communicating out of the multiplicity of identities that we have, it is a great place to start. Understand the identities, because that is going to give the context for Mind Mutter, where it comes from, how it operates, its purpose and its aim. Now I know we spoke about its purpose in the last episode, but we are going to expand on that and go into it in a little bit more detail just for your understanding. And even when we talk about something like the inevitability of identity, is for a lot of people that statement just goes over their head. It's whoosh, gone. It's like watching a jet airplane fly in the distance. Nice to know that there is a positive destination somewhere, but there is no actual connection with that. And I hope to change that with sharing with you about the inevitability of identity, the I am, in this session. So thank you for sticking with me so far. Woo! So to get the ball rolling, I want to start with an analogy, and I want to say, if you look at a tree, and I ask you the question, where does that tree get its identity from? Immediately you are going to say to me, from the seed. The tree is a direct result of the seed. And if you have an acorn and you have a tomato bush seed, and you have a green pepper seed. The fruit, the end product that results out of each of those seeds is a direct harvest, a direct relationship to the identity, to the DNA structure that is within that seed. Now we plant these 3 seeds in the exact same soil, and they will absorb the exact same nutrients, but they produce very different results. Why is that? As the seed is absorbing the energy follows the course in terms of the DNA structuring that it has, and automatically starts to draw matter and material to itself in order to expand from a little seed and to sprout, and then to break through the soil, to become a little sapling. It is growing all the time, and it is absorbing the nutrients and putting it in the place that is defined by the identity that it has. So the oak tree is going to take longer to grow. The tomato tree and the green pepper bushes will be a little bit quicker to grow. Very different outcomes. But all of them are based on the seed that it starts with. So same soil, same environment, different outcome. And the same is true for our lives, is that we have these various identities that create the outcomes that we want in our life. And just as much as an acorn is going to produce an oak tree, I am not going to plant an oak tree seed, an acorn, and expect to walk in there 6 months later, 6 weeks later, and harvest green peppers. Are you with? The seed produces after its kind. In the same way, I'm not planting green pepper seed and expecting to harvest tomatoes. So the seed will produce after its own kind. And it's effortless. Nobody has to teach or guide or, instruct or mentor or anything the seed. It just absorbs the nutrients and it does its thing. Same as your identity. We've got many identities. I'm John the son, I'm John the brother, I'm John the father, I'm John the author, I'm John the podcaster. There are many roles that I play in this life, and each one of them has its own set of identities with its associated values and beliefs, with its associated skills, and which then, as a consequence, produce the associated behavior. As it stands in our simpler identities, we are normally dictated to, the role is dictated by the environment that we're in. So when I'm with my child, I am John the father. There are times that I will be in a family setting, and my child and my siblings and my parents are there, and then the role of John the family member comes to the fore. So I'm not going to be individually John the son, brother, father, all in one. It's a little bit confusing. But there is a place that when I'm interacting with individuals, that the simplicity of the relationship, of the role required for that interaction will come to the foreground. But generally in the party, we're dealing with, John the family member. But I want to now share with you, if you had a role, for example, I'm John the podcaster. If I did not produce podcasts, could I call myself John the podcaster? No. I'm John the author. I can claim that title because I have a book out. And if I had the role of John the swimmer, I claim that role because I actually like the activity of swimming. So the identity gives an expression to the kinds of results that it produces. Now, watch how this conflicts in our being, in our day-to-day living sometimes. So now you've got somebody that's got the role of, I am a smoker. And I'm not picking on smokers, I'm not judging, nothing. Purely using it as an example. So somebody's got the role of, I am a smoker, and through whatever events they decide they're going to quit smoking. When they kill the cigarette, they don't necessarily change their identity. And by killing the cigarette, what they are doing is immediately they're in conflict with their identity, because I, John the smoker, have now killed my cigarette and have made a decision to not smoke. So I'm saying to the green pepper tree, don't produce green peppers anymore. Just be a bush. I'm saying to the acorn tree, I'm saying to the oak tree, don't produce acorns, just be a tree. Nothing in nature produces nothing. Everything produces results. And it is by their fruits that we know what they are. And it is the same for our own lives. If we look in our life and we look at the fruits, we look at the behavior, we look at what we are producing, we can trace it back and we will recognize an identity. It will connect directly to an identity. So now I've got an identity of John the smoker who is not smoking, who is not producing. There is one of two things that's going to happen. Either that identity will die in support of the behavior, or my internal system will create the environment conducive to produce the results. In other words, it's going to make me smoke. It's going to make me smoke. So I want you to see out of this that the identity has an inevitability about it. It is inevitably going to produce certain results after its own kind. It produces fruit related to the identity. I hope that is making sense to you. And I want you to absorb all of what that is and allow your consciousness to absorb it, process it, and start structuring the values and beliefs that you hold. Please allow that. Thank you. With that, we are going to say dissolve and seed, in and out, B&D, crown, fish, ice cream cone, and more in grace. Yes, I know that's a bit of gobbledygook, and basically it's an opening statement. It opens you up to receive everything that having an identity that inevitably creates the behavior is, and start seeding that in your subconscious mind. In your conscious mind, that you start to think, what does that look like? What is that? What does that mean? What does it look like? If my identity is going to create a behavior, what does that look like? What identity should I be creating in order to generate the behaviors that I want? If I take a collection of identities, can I get a collective outcome? Can I then start manifesting the kind of life that I really desire, that I want to give expression to? What are the conflicting identities? I want to be rich, but I have this problem with money. I have an identity that does not accommodate money. What does that look like? Can I please ask you to dissolve and reseed that in, out, B&D, crown, fish, ice cream cone, and more in grace? Awesome. I'm liking this. I hope you're liking this. So once we understand the concept that the identity is fueling the behavior, the DNA of the identity literally creates the fruit within our lives. Once you understand that, now you can recognize the purpose of Mind Mutter. Here comes Mind Mutter, and it says, Mind Mutter is a automated affirmation system. In other words, what Mind Mutter does is it automatically scans your identities. So now you've got the identities. Let's go back to the smoker one. It goes and it finds the identities that we have, and in particular, it favors ones that are emotionally charged. And so here it now finds the identity of smoker. Yay! And it's been recently charged by the fact that I've killed the cigarette and I want to quit smoking. So there is a lot of anxiety that goes with that. There is a lot of pressure that goes with that. So Mind Mutter picks up that identity and starts broadcasting, I am a smoker. Smoker, smoke. And as the week goes by, Mind Mutter notices that affirmation is not enough to create a conducive environment for you to smoke. So it will amp it up a bit. And it starts scanning the belief systems of that identity and says, ooh, As a smoker, you are skilled with a lighter. You are skilled with your hands. And then all of a sudden you realize you don't know what to do with your hands. When you would be smoking, at times that you would be smoking, now all of a sudden you realize that you don't know what to do with your hands. They are excessive. They're in the way. And the thought arises that now maybe what you should do is smoke in order to occupy your hands. Wow. How subtle, how sneaky that mind mutter is. Just planted that seed in there. And it might not produce the results that mind mutter is looking for. And I'm saying mind mutter, this is about your identity. Mind mutter is only doing the job on behalf of the identity, because it's got an empty, vacant identity that's not producing any results. John the smoker must produce results. You know, when you were sitting at work, you would have these smoke breaks, and then you would get up and you would go outside and you would connect with people while having a cigarette. Get up, go and connect with those people. And while you're standing there, the need for the cigarette arises. Can you see how the mind mutter can drive habitual behavior? More importantly, it enforces our behavior associated to the identity. Now you start smoking. Phew! The mind mutter is relieved, and it calculates. It looks at the information and it says, wow, we quit smoking for 6 weeks. There was a lot of pressure and everything else, but we did it for 6 weeks, and that's fine. We feel better about ourselves, but we feel a lot better now that we're smoking again. The peace and the calm and the connection and everything else has returned. Yay! And what's even more yay is the fact that the identity is producing results. The next time you then kill the cigarette with the intention of quitting smoking, mind mutter immediately picks up on the fact that last time it was 6 weeks. And it might even be quiet about the subject for 5 weeks. And then on week 6, starts knocking at your door, starts putting on the pressure in order to produce the results. Because mind mutter figures it's time to take a break, and that's fine. We will start eventually again, because we cannot have an identity that does not produce results. So in that, mind mutter is supporting the inevitability of the identity. That is heavy, heavy stuff. If you get this, I am so glad. If not, what I'm asking you to do, don't judge it. Just ask yourself some questions. Ask the question, what does the inevitability of identity do for you? What does it look like in your life? What is it creating for you? What problems are you experiencing because you either have certain identities or do not have certain identities? And everything that is involved in that. I'm asking you to open yourself to that. Dissolve and seed, in and out, B&D, crowns, fish, ice cream cones, and more in grace. Awesome. Don't stop with this podcast. It's just giving you the introduction. I want you to go and explore that some more. Allow yourself to get the understanding, the clarity, the focus, and the momentum around the inevitability of identity. If you've liked this podcast, please help me grow this channel. Click like, leave me a comment, subscribe, share this podcast with others that may be seeking to understand their inner voice, as well as searching more about their identity. You are welcome to search for more on mindmuttermatters.com or johnusher.com. And I hope to see you next time. Keep it real. Bye now.